Hi everyone, I'm Cassie Kresny, and today I'm going to be talking about our project here, the Drone Delivery Service and Orangutan Enrichment Pilot Study. Orangutans are one of 5 great apes currently living on the planet, sharing the same family as gorillas, chimpanzees, bonobos, and ourselves. The culture of orangutans is particularly unique compared to other great apes, as unlike gorillas or chimpanzees, most of their time is spent alone, with the exception of raising young or co-foraging. When looking at the orangutans in the zoo setting, they face additional challenges due to their unique culture. While interpopulation cultural variation is expected, as previously been observed, captive orangutans have an additional factor of their upbringing and living conditions. Captive orangutans come from a variety of backgrounds, such as the entertainment industry, where they are commonly raised by humans. Along with this, captive orangutans are usually housed together as opposed to a more solitary life of their wild counterparts. Consequently, this produces unique social hierarchies. These factors come together to create unique populations of captive orangutans that deviate from standard behavior expectations and activity budgets, with common health concerns across the groups. While many factors are important for health, captive primates in particular are susceptible to health issues related to limited physical activity, commonly seen through weight management difficulties and diabetes. In this study, we aim to design for an automatic way to encourage foraging, which would increase physical activity with the potential of increasing space utilization. We have begun to explore the use of a drone delivery system to disperse food throughout platforms in an outdoor enclosure, as you can kind of see pictured here, where those platforms are. So placing food on these platforms may encourage natural climbing behaviors, both on to the platform itself as well as crossing cables, that can increase the physical activity and climbing confidence, along with encouraging usage of the full enclosure area, and hopefully give each animal extra space as they become more comfortable utilizing this whole space. In this pilot exploration, we will be collecting observational data of the target population to better understand current activity budgets and individual personalities. We also will be evaluating the perception and impact of a drone delivery use case with the animal care staff and the general public. Through this pilot, we'll be able to share with the ACI community an individualized perspective of ethnography for captive animal population, as well as the public and animal care staff perception of using those technologies in the space for enrichment. Looking to previous work, enrichment in zoos is transitioning from a amenity to a necessity, with many programs forming in the last 20 years. Enrichment tends to be focused on feeding in tactical forms, as these methods tend to be less time-consuming, financially possible, and effective for enrichment. Foraging enrichment has been explored in many forms, such as the automatic feeders for fennec foxes, contra freeloading with giraffe using puzzle feeders, and using unique feeding methods for frogs. Enrichment technology has been explored for captive orangutans before, particularly in touch and projection screen games technology. Along with this, enrichment also has been seen using auditory preferences as well as putting in novel climbing structures. This pilot consists of 2 components: a survey for the stakeholders to understand their perception, and animal behavior observations to establish a baseline behavior for future field deploy. The survey we are deploying is approved by our university's Ethics Review Board, and our animal observations are approved by the university's Animal Review Board. The study is currently ongoing, and I'll talk about some preliminary results that we're still in the process of gathering at the end. So the first portion of our study is online survey to be deployed to the zoo staff as well as the general public, targeting 200 participants. 100 participants were recruited via Amazon's Mechanical Turk, and we are in the process of recruiting 100 participants manually through social media, snowball sampling, and zoo networks. The survey targets 3 research questions. The first is, what is the perception of using a drone in a zoo enclosure? We want to see, in general, is the perception positive or negative, and what feedback might they have for us? This was conducted through like agreements to statements expanded on from previous work, including if they would like to visit this enclosure, what their connection to specific themes like education or conservation related to the comic, which I have one of the examples here. And the statements were based on previous work with elephants by Hacker in 2016. Next, we have what are the piloting preferences. So our survey actually had 2 different comics displayed. I will put both of them here now. One here is where the drone is manually piloted by the zookeeper, and the other is where the drone flies autonomously. So each participant responded to both scenarios, and they were evenly randomized to account for ordering effects. So you can see here, most of the panes are the same. The only difference is in the second one, either there is a zookeeper or there's not. And in the third one, whether the zookeeper is shown flying. And also in the fifth one, there is also a note that it's either the staff member returns the drone or the drone returns to the staff-only area. Lastly, we also wanted to see if recruitment method had any impact on the results obtained. We were curious if MTurk provided similar feedback as results gathered through our manual recruitment methods. This insight may aid in our deploy study, as well as may be beneficial for the ACI community for survey recruitment in this particular area. Moving on to observations, these will be conducted at the zoo. The goal of these observations is twofold. First, we want to establish baseline behaviors for the future system deploy comparison, as well as compare current activity budgets to their wild counterparts. These observations will be based on this ethogram I have here, which is formulated based on previous informal observations with this group of orangutans, as well as ethograms found in prior literature. Due to the nature of the enclosure, vocalizations and sounds are muffled. We included mostly visual behaviors with the addition of limited sounds able to be heard outside of the enclosure. Observations will be done using scan sampling methods for each individual in the main enclosure. Looking to the analysis plan, all qualitative data will be analyzed using statistical libraries in Python. Any qualitative data will be thematically coded and will be used affinity diagramming to find prominent themes and use case feedback. Observational data will be explored with an individual lens to ensure the inclusion of individual behavioral patterns when evaluating a future system deploy. So lastly, looking at preliminary results, we're currently in the data collection process for this, and we have 100 respondents from the MTurk recruitment. So far we have about 92% like the concept of using the drone. Of these 92%, 48 of them prefer having manual control where the zookeeper is in control the entire time. We have 19% that prefer autonomous only, and then we had 32 that like both. When looking at the reasoning behind the different preferences, the manual side of things is focusing on the safety related to a distrust of technology. So a lot of them kind of mirror around this quote where it says, in case something goes wrong, it can be reported and fixed ASAP. When looking at the reasoning for the autonomous group, they are interested in the efficiency. So here in the quote, they say, I think it is a waste of technology if a person has to navigate the drone. A human may as well place the food themselves. And lastly, for those that didn't lean either way, they seem to like the idea of using tech in general, like the quote here. I think each offers different things, but both feel very interesting. So overall, we're seeing some positive results for including drones in enrichment in zoo settings. The main concerns that we're seeing are, again, the safety of the animal. There's a lot of distrust on the technology, and they want to make sure that, above all, the animal is okay, and we make sure that their safety is paramount. Second to the safety, another theme that we're slowly seeing emerge is just a curiosity about the technology in a positive light, too. So thank you for listening to my presentation. I'm happy to take some questions, as well as if you need to reach out to me after the fact, please feel free to email me at ckresney@iu.edu. Thank you.